Hey, Fat Turtles, I wanted to let you know how the Greenvale Vineyards 5K went this past Sunday. It was 2 days ago. Um, it was hot and grassy. Um, I'll tell you that wasn't exactly, they never are, how I planned it to go. It was definitely early. We got there a little later than we expected to, but it was fine. We were still there, plenty of time to get to the start line. And the actual race changed like dramatically from what they had told us it was going to be for the actual map and stuff like that. So it was very hilly. I guess I should have expected that, knowing that it was by a river, so it go downhill to the riverside. But it was, I would say, easily 80% off pavement, if not 90 to 95% off of pavement. So let me share my screen so you can see specifically. This was the path that they told us it was going to be, or that's the one that I talked about. How they said, like, we'd start here and we'd go around this field and then, like, up this pavement. We didn't even get this pavement, even if it's not pavement, if it was just some kind of packed down path. That is not what we got. What we got is dramatically different. So let me pull that to show you guys from my other screen. See if I can pull it underneath too, so you can see it. Uh, this is what we got. So if we can take this and have a look at them together, you can see it's definitely not quite the same. So instead of having us go out and down, they had us do this path out. It's a shame they didn't have us do that path there. But we actually came up and there's like one row of grapes here. And you can kind of see it in the picture. They just come up this way, go downhill around those grapes, down by the river, back up. And yeah, I guess that's no, we went all the way up past this field because I'm seeing that this hill here was rough. It was very steep here. So going downhill here, and we get to run up this path, which was pretty significant uphill. Oops. And then they had us go in and we did do this field and went around. But then when we got here, they had us run around this one too. This is all grass, all grass. Come back down. This was where the water station was. They filled the water way too much. Um, so I ended up just like drinking a swig, then came down here, and you guys actually were able to see me race because my phone stayed on most of the time. Now, but by this point, unfortunately, I didn't know you guys were on and hearing me breathe like I was dying since it was so hot. Uh, but we did come down and go around here and come back up like so, and past the water station again. Um, somewhere around here, I lost the one of my hooks on my phone, so I had to switch to holding my phone in my hand. So I haven't really noticed. It didn't seem to make my video any worse than it already was because I do a lot of swinging when I'm running apparently, and that's what you guys saw. Um, so I held my uh phone probably for about half the race. So I'm looking for any tips if anybody has something that they think wouldn't break the harness and be able to go through a full race, but we'll see anyway. So we ran back out, and then this was the best part. So we get to run. I'm gonna get rid of this. We get to run downhill for this section here. And they said this is 2 miles. I think the 2 mile was like here. The 1 mile was somewhere, I feel like up in this field. I had one of my electrolyte tablets, and I did have my second one, I think. And maybe didn't. I had trouble because once my phone was in my hand, I couldn't get my I could get I ate my second electrolyte tablet, that's what it was. But I couldn't get my water because I didn't have my hands. The only water that I got after losing my phone holster was here because it takes like two hands to get it out of my running belt. And I didn't want to put you guys in my pocket because I would have lost you. And then the host has to let me back in. And sometimes he's not looking at his phone. So since we were just running for it, I figured, let's do it. And then, so anyway, you came back down here and then you just ran this thing backwards. So you came across this really narrow upshoot, which actually you started having trouble because this is like the road to get in to the vineyard. And this second wave of people started arriving because they were supposed to be there, I think, like by 9 o'clock. And we had started at 8 o'clock, and some of the people were early and that kind of thing. So anyway, we had to run back uphill this part, downhill by the river. I actually turned my camera. You can see it if you watch our live stream. Turned my camera to look out on the river at this point. And I had a lot of trouble. I had to walk when I was trying to put my harness in my pocket when it fell off because it was too loose without the phone strapped into it. And I had to walk here when I ran like halfway up this path of those vines. And then I had to walk like here to like here, which was probably only maybe 50 feet, but still, I was dying. This was very steep hill with grass, like toward the end. You could see, you had already seen the end. There was a direct path to the end, but that wasn't on the road. So I went up and did the whole thing to get back. This is where this part here that came up, this is where you lost the host. He came through this part, but I would assume that he probably did, I don't know, at least like 2.7 miles this way, and maybe even more. It was fun. I saw their recap, the host and the producer, and we all got different mileage. And so my my run got it at 2.97 miles. My Aura Ring got it at 3 miles exactly. And the co-producers Garmin watch got it at like 3.085 or something like that. So I don't really know. I guess it wasn't really a full 5K, but it was hot. It was on grass. It was slower than you expected it to be. So it was just like, this was one that I just wanted to finish, and I wanted to finish strong. Finished, pull up my results. I didn't have any trouble with my shoes. The only thing, I'm curious if anybody's actually watching, I've thought about putting like, the waterproofing spray like on the toes of my shoes. I don't know if that'll make them non-breathable. If it does, I don't want to do that, but like, because this was so much grass and a lot of 5Ks, maybe 10Ks too, I've only done one. They have you go through a portion of grass or trail, and they're very often in the morning because they have to close down the roads. So it's easier to do that in the morning. I'm wondering if I could spray a pair of my shoes to be water repellent, just because like when your toes go through that dewy grass, no matter even if it didn't rain, it was just, that's how mornings are, right? Grass is wet. I didn't know if that would work or if that would make my shoes non-breathable or if it would just make them like hydrophobic. I do know that the producer and the co-producer were complaining that it was slippery. I did not notice that. I just was more worried about the grass is pretty high. And in fact, like I just mowed my lawn the other day, and I mow my lawn pretty high. I mow it at 3.5 inches because there's a lot of like rocks and debris under it. Close to the house, I mow it down to 2 inches. But most of the yard that I walk around is 3.5 inches tall when it's freshly mowed. And this was higher than that. It was probably 4.5 inches. It got a little better like once people packed it down, but it was kind of hard to go through there. So with that grass being as tall as it was definitely, your shoes were wet. My shoes were wet before I even started. It wasn't terrible, but it just definitely wasn't ideal. So I'm curious about that. I didn't wear my trail running shoes like I had discussed in the preview video. I just wore a regular pair of running shoes. I wore my Brooks. I did not slip in them. I did not feel like I was going to slip in them, but I don't think it made a difference. It was just definitely, there was no, you had no bounce back on the ground, right? Like the energy return is not there. So you just hit that dirt and you can feel it so soft that all of the energy from your collision with the ground just goes straight into the ground and backs it off. So uh, it was interesting to say the least. I kind of knew it was going to be like that. I'll tell you what though, like that first field that I went through, I was okay, but just coming up the hill, going into the second field, like after I went up the pavement part and I went into the second field, I was running up this very short hill. It was probably only like 45, 50 feet to go across the top of the next field. It definitely, like I could feel my calves burning, just saying like this sucks and your body is not gonna like this later. So I was definitely tired because we had gotten up early and I was tired from the extra effort I felt like it took to exert to do that style of a race, like off-road. Did get to take a nap after, but man, like I was burnt from the 5 mile run that I did 2 days before that. And then I went and did this and I was pretty sore. Actually, I'm still sore today and I went on a recovery run today. So I'm hoping that tomorrow it's like I'm mostly better, but I'm hoping like back by tomorrow I should be back to normal. But this race was difficult. So in a good way, I think it was nice that you're able to do it. That I was trained. I don't think if I had trained for a 5K, there were a lot of people that were struggling. I don't think if I was just trained for a 5K, it would have gone well. I don't even know if I consider this well. Like I said, I wanted to get in under 45 minutes. I did. Uh, it was, like I said, a little bit shorter than what it should have been. My chip time versus my gun time. The gun time is like when the race started, but I didn't get through the starting line right at the beginning. So my actual chip time was 42:14. I do think it was a little bit shorter than a 5K, so I would expect that I probably still would have finished under 45 if it was the extra 0.2 miles or whatever it would have been. But we ran into a friend. Well, I did. I ended up paced like right near a friend of ours that we weren't expecting to be there. So that was nice because it was able to kind of like I stayed with her and she was staying with me. And we both ran through the finish line at the same time, although our chip time was 6 seconds different. And I did still finish. I finished within 1 minute of the producer. So like we seem to be on par. Obviously, the co-producer is way faster than all of us, and the host is behind, but he's still doing his thing. So we are very much, I feel like, not different than we were 1 month ago. But we did it, and now we have some time to build up to our 10K status. Our 10K is on September 21st. That's the first one that we're doing. I'll do a preview for that, but that is one that I have run the 5K version before, so I don't know if it's gonna be a repeat, like you just run it twice, or if they'll just have us go a little bit further. But I know for certain that that path, the way that they have us go, is paved and it's not nearly as hilly as either of the two 5Ks that we've done. And the same thing with our October 10K is a lot flatter than these two. And that one is also paved. So those will be good. They'll be easier training. But now that we're doing this training in the summer and it's super hot, we've been going on days that it's probably only going to be easier. So like I'm all about training hard so that when you get to the easier parts, it feels way more comfortable. So anyway, if you enjoyed watching our live stream and seeing about running a race, maybe it was like the first time, maybe it's before the first time you've ever run a race and you wanted to just kind of see how it worked, welcome, ask us questions. Try not to laugh at us for being too slow, but I don't really care. It's for my own fitness and to do the best that I can. I'm running my own race, not anybody else's race. So like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you on the training course.